He's an icon in the real estate industry. And I'll just quickly say a little bit about him. You're welcome, sir. Mr. Akim Oguniro is the founder and chief executive of Exima Realty Co. and Mercury Nominees Investments. He's also non-executive chairman of the board of directors of Lagos Building Investment Co. and the non-executive director of Real Coventry UK and many other companies. He's a leading thought in African real estate structuring, funding, and delivery. And he's no doubt one of the stars of this country, this nation, when we talk about construction. Personally, I know he's authored so many books, particularly innovation in REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust. And that is one area of the Nigerian economy that I continue to pray to flourish, because without it, we are not going to go too far. He retired from USC in 2018, having served as the managing director of USCN Property Development Co. from 2010 to 2018, and managing director of MDS Logistics, also a division of USC. He was named one of the top 20 CEOs of listed companies in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Mr. Oguniro graduated originally, started as a lawyer, and then he's diversed into so many other things, chiefly into real estate. He's a recipient of many awards, including the federal government scholarship for high academic standing, a Fulbright scholarship to Yale University, and so many, many other awards which time will not permit me to go through. He's happily married to a professor of law at the University of Lagos, and they are blessed with 3 lovely children. Mr. Oguniro's expertise, his exposure to law and real estate development and policy formulation is the reason he's with us here today. We hope to hear from him how we can tie the past and the present to the future in this great industry using his experience. Let's put our hands together for him. The third panelist is Honorable Abdul Majid Mugbojuola Olawale, and he's going to be represented here by Engineer Raufu Amao, the Coordinating Director, Oyo State Ministry of Public Works and Transport. Is he here? Let's put our hands together for him. Honorable Olawale was inducted into the as a fellow into the African Institute of Waste Management and Environmental Studies in recognition of his visionary commitment to sustainable waste management. He's a dedicated and seasoned strategist with several years of extensive experience traversing the public and private sectors. And environmental services have made a lasting impact on the environment. His deep knowledge, hands-on experience, and commitment to professional development have established him as a thought leader, an innovator in sustainable waste management around whole, as he serves as Oyo State Commissioner for Public Works and Infrastructure. He obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in Architecture from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and bagged several other professional qualifications in environmental management. Today, we look forward to hearing from him, from his able representative, the perspective of the public servant, the person that has been honored by society to help us to ensure that we have the adequate infrastructure to continue to service this kind of iconic buildings and to ensure that these buildings are sustainable. Once again, I welcome you. I hope we have a thriving discussion. Please, I want us to be very attentive before we wrap up. My name is Femi Agwola, FNIA. Yeah. a fellow of the Thank you very much. Engineer Wale Lagunju, are you here now? Okay, do we have the Mr. Odu'a, what exactly are we celebrating today? Is it just the building? Is it the people? I want us to put Cocoa House into context and let people know exactly why we are gathered here today.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank Odu'a for inviting me. My first formal engagement with Cocoa House was sometimes in the 90s when I was part of a delegation from the Lagos Chamber of Commerce to visit the Cocoa House. Ms. Akonde is there, so she probably will remember. We had come under the aegis of the Commercial Law and Taxation Committee of the Chamber. And of course, coming here, going up to the last floor, hearing about this story, you cannot but wonder how some people will sit down in 1962-63 and conceive of this idea, which is still standing today. So I think the first thing is that we need to salute the vision and the courage of the visionaries of this project. We need to salute their vision and the courage. It takes exceptional vision and it takes great courage, particularly in the 60s when there weren't many technical capabilities in the country. And to have gone out, to have delivered a project which is still standing today, I think we have to just celebrate their vision. That's where to start from. Because in reality, if you deliver Cocoa House as it is today, anywhere in the world today, you deliver this same project. And we've heard from the vision of Kapanda Bato, who helped in birthing this project. So we're celebrating legacy, we're celebrating impact, we're celebrating vision, we're celebrating history, we're celebrating heritage. And I think as Yoruba people, we must be very proud that we had forefathers who sat down 60, 65 years ago to deliver for us a project like this, which I believe we all are very proud today. Thank you very much. I think I can stop there for now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Oguniro. We'll come back to you very soon. Engineer Mao, what does Cocoa House symbolize? What exactly, if you were supposed to describe Cocoa House, how would you, what is the symbol? What does it mean? What does Cocoa House mean to us as first of all, as professionals in engineering, in the construction industry, and then to our patriotic zeal? We all sang the national anthem now. What does Cocoa House, when we look at the vision of the forefathers, what is the symbol that Cocoa House brings to the mind?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. A lot has been said about this Cocoa House, but just to address your questions, I would like to say Cocoa House is an historical landmark standing in the city skyline. I appreciate the political sagacity and the prime ingenuity of their past leader to think about this kind of a project in about 60 years ago and make it to limelight. So it's really a very big achievement on their side, and which is a challenge for us now, for us to be able to maintain this and sustain it for the next generation to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Engineer Mao. Let's go to GM now. You know, when we see this kind of buildings, I mean, Cocoa House was done at a time when, like Mr. Oguniro said, we didn't have as many engineers or architects, you know, but there was a vision that some people had that made it come to pass, using one of the best contractors that was available even at that time, Kappa and Alberto. Before Kappa and Alberto came on board, there was a team of consultants. Could you tell the House what exactly are the consultants that are involved in putting together this kind of structure? Can you name them? And then particularly I want you to dig deep into the...
As a Cocoa House. From history, the highest building as at that time used to be the 4-story building on Broad Street. Then we used to have the prison where we have the Freedom Park now, close to Western House. And the message then was that how can they have the building that will be overlooking the prison and that is a threat to the nation? And that was how Western House was limited to just 19th floor. And because of the zeal and the challenge and resilience of our forefathers, they decided to come up with Cocoa House, which was now the tallest building at that time in Nigeria, and where we have a 23-floor building as a Cocoa House. This was born out of their respect and commitment to standards. Standards in the sense that they ensure that they put in place the best hands in the industry, in the built environment. They had Kappa and Dapato, and they had the best consultants in terms of quantity surveyors, the structural engineer, and in the in the 80s, and it was to be remodeled, rebuilt, that the thought came up that the shape that was originally built did not represent cocoa, and then part of the 2 wings were added by Kappa and Dubato to really represent what the shape of cocoa is. So what I see Cocoa House to be is a representative of standards, respect for building codes, because in real estate balance, we recognize 3 R's, which is the regulation, risk, and revenue, and returns. Before you think of risk and returns, you must tick the box of regulation. If the regulation was not right at that time, I mean adherence to the rules and regulations surrounding building of this kind of structure, we won't have what we have today. In the history of Odu'a and Wema Board put together, despite the fact that
a property, my colleague mentioned the issue of collapsed building there, and we have seen in the last few years, 10, 15 years, the number of buildings that are falling in Lagos, Port Harcourt. And I want to celebrate those that put together this kind of edifice. It's still standing, it's still proud. No matter where you are approaching this building from, you know, you see it, it's standing out, it's an icon. And as I came in this morning, I saw the name Adebayo and Adebayo. That's a Nigerian architect based here in Ibadan. And they did the renovations. They supervised the renovations. Let's put our hands together for them. I don't know if any of them is here. Also points to the fact that Nigerian consultants can do this work. Not because I'm one of them, but, you know, the truth is that we've had enough of the incursion of foreigners into this country. These are things that we have done and will continue to do. Let's go back to Mr. Oguniro. You know, Cocoa House was completed in 1965. Until 1979, it did not have a competitor in terms of, you know, the iconic structure, the height. Necom House came up in 1979 and was just a little bit higher.
Admit is that building high-rise buildings, building a high-rise building of the class of Cocoa House is not a tea party. So the first thing is that, what is a high-rise building? Typically, a high-rise building is a building between 35 to 40 meters. And the threshold of the number of floors is 12 floors. But you know, we have to compare apple with apple. We have to compare orange with orange. We have to think in terms of high-rise buildings that are in the same class, are in the same community as the Cocoa House. So I did a little research, and I looked at the high-rise buildings that we have in Nigeria today that are in this category. Of course, like the moderator said, Necom House came in 1979. It was 160 meters. But now we have the Millennium Tower, 160 meter, 42 floors, which came in 2015. We have the Champagne Pearl Tower, 134 meters, 34 floors, also in Lagos. We have the Union Bank Building, 124 meters, came in 1991. We have the World Trade Center Tower 2, 120 meters, 25 floors, completed in 2016. We have Echo Tower 2, 118 meters, 27 floors, completed in 2017. We have the Black Pearl Tower, 112 meters, also 2017. We have the World Stock Exchange, and of course, First Bank just did the groundbreaking for developing a 40-floor story building. So there are two things I just like to say. Number one, a high-rise building is not a tea party, like I said. It's difficult enough trying to build a multi-family building of 2 to 3 floors. We now want to go into the realm of 15, 20, 30 floors, 40 floors. It's a different matter entirely. And like the moderator said, unfortunately, we've had incidences of building collapses. For those who are even trying to build 12 stories, 8 stories, 6 stories, you know. So it's not easy. The first thing is that you require a lot of resources, The chairman said this building was valued 2.5 billion. I'm sure today this building will not be less than 10, 15, 18 billion naira. It cannot be less. It cannot be less because of what has happened over the years. So you require a lot of resources to deliver this type of building. And that is why each time I hear that this building was built from cocoa money, you know, it's like a wonder to me. And I'm sure it must be to so many people also. That some people sat down and they were able to aggregate resources that was gotten from cocoa to build this type of building. The second thing is, of course, is technical expertise. You know, if a 2-floor building collapses, it is bad enough. Let's now imagine when a 15, 20, 30-story building will collapse. You can imagine the level of damage that will occur thereby. So we've seen the trend.
What continues to bog my mind is as far back as 1960, because the vision itself was pre-independence. The vision was pre-independence, but it was completed post-independence. So we need to continue to salute our forefathers. And as somebody said earlier, when we leave the stage, we pray that the people coming after us to be able to salute us. So straight away, let's go to Engineer Amao. Let's look at infrastructure. We can talk about high-rise buildings and so much, you know. We can talk about the resources required to construction.
Thank you once again. Infrastructures play a lot of factors when it comes to sustainability of a high-rise building. What we're talking about is, well, having built the infrastructure, or even during construction, 5 buildings, 5 stories, does not have its own water treatment plant, or does not have its own power generating station. If you have to rely on maybe public power supply, you definitely run into problem. So all these are the issues. We know how these public utilities runs in our country. So the more reason that if you're having this kind of a project in mind, you also need to consider so many other roads. You build estates here and there. You have to have a good road network within the estate. Otherwise, nobody will want to invest in that estate. nobody want to come in and have a car breakdown every now and then because of bad infrastructures. You cannot do a lot of things because of lack of water and power supply. So it's really a very big issue and a lot of concern when it comes to sustainability of that kind of structure. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's clap. If we want to clap, please. Let's honor our panelists. Power generators, your own water, your own, that in itself is a deal breaker. Many times, our own experience is that by the time you factor all these things in, you begin to doubt if this project
survives on its own without ancillary services, such as, especially if it's high-rise building, you need to look at the lift, you look at the sewage system, you look at the power, and you look at the access. All of these are considered as public goods in the real sense of it. But unfortunately, in the climate that we have found ourselves, most of these costs that are supposed to be borne by the public, maybe the government, has been shifted to private owners. And this has made it very difficult to improve in the number of houses that have been provided and in terms of even high-rise buildings. Access to any property or any location is very critical to the success of construction of such buildings. Where we have difficulty in accessing the sites in the first instance, you have challenges of getting materials to site, which invariably will increase the cost of construction. The cost of sewage and other facilities is about 35% of the cost of construction. And for you to be able to achieve a viable project, you need to start with carrying out your preliminary investigation as to, by the time you carry out your value engineering, you'll be able to pull out those things that are nice to have, but may not add value to the construction. So once you are able to do this effectively, you are rest assured that you can now go ahead to implement your project. But really and truly, government should play a major role in providing infrastructure. To me, I believe rather than government focusing on providing housing, building houses, government should rather focus on providing infrastructure. For instance, government should open up new towns and lay it out correctly with adequate infrastructure and allow private sector to focus on building those houses. With that, they would have helped to reduce the cost of construction by way of about 30%, 35% of the day. Again, is how well you are able to put up the right kind of consultants. Because sometimes there is a mismatch between the kind of project you want to do and the category of contractor you are deploying. If you have a project that a category C contractor could embark on peacefully, and you end up using a category A contractor, then your cost will also balloon, and you have it difficult to recoup your investment at the end of the day. So essentially, I believe that government should play more role in the provision of infrastructure. And again, government should also look at regulatory bodies. We have a lot of regulatory agencies that are coming up to request for one thing or the other in building construction, leading to high cost in the construction industry. If government can come in to play more role in provision of infrastructure, I believe that will be healthier for the construction industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, GM. Okay, final round of questions. We are running out of time. Let's look at the future.
I think the first thing I'm going to say is that before we start building cassava house and pepper house all over the Southwest, I like to say that, I always say that real estate business is a very good sector. I'm going to come to that. However, if you're going to do real estate business successfully, you must be focused on ROE, return on equity, because you must have a threshold of return that you expect before you put shareholders' money. The reason why I'm saying that is that there are two other ROEs in real estate. There is return on ego, ROE, and there's return on emotion, ROE. I think we need to be very careful, not to focus on return on ego of this sector in driving the economy in the future. Now today, the estimated size of real estate market in Nigeria is 2.5 trillion US dollars. To grow at 6.8% by 2029, it will be like 3.5 trillion US dollars. And the reason is very simple. We're a country of over 220 million people. 70% of that 220 million are under 30. 46% of that 220 are under 15. The median age in this country is 18.1 years. So it's a no-brainer because these people, they will have to live in houses, they will have to go for entertainment, they will have to go for recreation. The only thing is that in the future, the focus will be radically different from what we used to. In those days, we used to assume too many things for the customer. But today, we are facing customers who place higher premium on Wi-Fi than swimming pool. This younger generation, they'd rather have Wi-Fi in their estate than swimming pool. So we need to understand that. Because all of us, we have shipped our children to Canada and US and all over the world, So if you look at what is happening today in Lagos and in some places, the business of care homes is coming. So we need to be a lot more strategic, deliberate, and intentional. These are no longer the days of I want to build an estate. I'll put swimming pool, I'll put lawn tennis court, the question is, what does the customer want? The people of this generation, they don't even want all those big buildings. They don't want all those. I'll always give an example in Lagos. In Lagos, those guys, they want to go to Quilocks. For those of us, like my friend who knows Quilocks, they want to go to Quilocks, close by 1 a.m., and get to their houses within 15 minutes. But they're not looking for big apartments. They're looking for micro apartments, 1-bedroom flat, studios, and things like that. They're not looking for big city rooms. So that is what we need to begin to think in terms of the future. For me, future.
Particularly, let's come down to Oyo State. Oyo State.
Much has been said by the last speaker. Just going towards Abeokuta here now. We continue to expand. Or it's going to a time that all those people will be fully acquired. So we don't have any option than to come into real estate, develop skyscraper buildings, and house ourselves for our industries, for our homes, and all the rest. So the future is really bright when it comes to real estate development in the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mo. Can you please give us a last word before we go to the question and answers?
Okay, thank you very much. I said in my earlier comment that the philosophy of the business of our forefathers was based on 3 basic needs of man: food, clothing, and shelter. For the future, I would love to add the 4th one, which is technology. That any business philosophy that will survive the future must be based on food, clothing, shelter, and technology. Technology in the sense that I see a real estate in the future that is greatly driven by technology. In terms of the construction method, in terms of even the financing of real estate. Over the years now, it has become very easy for you to be part of a gigantic project without having the entire cost of the project by way of co-financing, that people come together to put one. Marketing, develop, and sell. You must do your marketing analysis to be able to understand the taste and what the public wants, because taste is also dynamic. It changes every day. So for you to put in an investment in real estate going into the future, you must understand the dynamics, that's the market analysis of wherever you want to place your investment on. Again, I've talked about the methodology in terms of technology, that technology will now drive real estate delivery. In some part of the world, you can have edifice as cocoa house completed within 6 months. So how would we be able to invest in research and development to be able to carry out invest like having just commercial edifice like this. We now go into a mixed use development, and that is why in Wema Board we have been able to remodel one of our office building on Marina Unity House, which is a 21 story office building. We have now remodeled it into a mixed use apartment comprising office, residential, which is still possible in the near future. You have apartment, you have a spa, you have gym. People come to work, they feel relaxed, and they reduce their travel time. And that will also increase the it will promote 24-hour economy within any location where you have such edifice. Again, it's the size of accommodation that is being sought for now. These days, even around Lekki area, where you have 3-bedroom apartments, and you think you have let it out to a single tenant. No, you have let it out to 3 different tenants. The upcoming stars and the SMEs, they take a 3-bedroom apartment, and 3 people come together to contribute towards the rent, and they live peacefully there. They don't need to have too much space. What they want is a functional house, and again, technology. They want a house where they can come in, plug in their Wi-Fi, and be able to do their business without any hindrance. So the future, as far as I am concerned, is technology for us to be able to achieve better results in the near future. Thank you.
Let's put our hands together for the panelists. It's been a wonderful time. I know we stretched our limits a little bit, but quickly let's take some questions from the audience. Questions, I'm sure something has dropped into your mind from what the 3 panelists have told us today. We've looked at customer preferences. It's not just about building. Who recognize your customer and what they actually want. Can I see some hands, please?
The buyers are left with undeveloped infrastructure. The roads are bad, sewage is not really optimized. So I hope that after this panel discussion,